Welcome back to the IE427 garage, everybody. I think what we're going to do today is we're going to work on those rear brakes. We're going to remove all of the factory 5 supplied calipers, brackets, rotors. We're going to drain the fluid, and then we're going to change out the axle brackets for our 10.5-inch Mustang brakes. All right, so under the car, we're gonna go ahead, we're going to take all the bolts loose, probably leave a couple on the top on, probably this one and this one, but have them backed a good ways out, just so that the cover doesn't fall while we're trying to drain the fluid that's in here. And then we're gonna take and probably get a pry bar or a screwdriver in between the cover and the housing, work it loose, because there's probably just RTV holding this on. And we're going to collect this in a nice clean bucket. I have 2 buckets here at the shop that I only use for clean fluids. One of those is this bucket here that I use for clean water and coolant. You can see I've got it marked. And this other one that I say on the side, clean oil only. That way, when I go to put the oil back in, I know there's no contamination in anything. And I always make sure I wipe those buckets out with you know, a damp cloth or whatever before I put any new fluid in there, so I know they're nice and clean. So let me go ahead, I'm gonna grab the oil bucket, I'm gonna go ahead and grab a rolling cart and put it underneath the lift, so that as I am kind of prying the cover off, all the fluid will drop into the bucket and we won't make a huge mess. Music update, George Harrison, My Sweet Love. All right, I've got the fluid drained, and I've got it in the red pail right there. I put a cover on it so that it's not going to get any contaminants in it while we're farting around. I'm probably going to filter the oil that I came out, or just replace it, because, and this is one thing that I don't like about these companies that like pre-assemble the rear end assemblies, and this might be even true for like Ford and the OEM, but I pulled the fluid out, and the fluid is beautiful. It's nice and golden, no contaminants in it whatsoever. But then I went to clean out the bottom of the pumpkin because I wanted to get as much fluid out there as I could. I didn't want it just leaking on the floor as I was working. So I had a nitrile glove on. I was kind of scooping it out towards the edge of the housing to get it all out. And there's all this like muck in the bottom. Now this has not been on the road, and there are no clutches in this. This is the torsion type locker, which is like spring actuated, not clutch actuated. So none of that came from the actual internals. It came from the inside of the housing. It's almost like Moser didn't even clean it before they put fluid in it. So I'm going to filter the oil that I pulled out, because some of that muck was in there. And then I used a separate bucket to get like the rest of the crap out of there, to get out whatever might still be in there and make sure it's clean before I put it back in. But Jesus, you know, if you're gonna do your job, just do it right? This stuff didn't come, you know, it didn't get in there because the parts that they put in there weren't clean. It got in there because they didn't clean the housing before they put all the good parts in. So we'll clean it, we'll make it all right, and we'll move on. But right now I'm gonna go ahead, I'm gonna take the factory 5 bracket off, so you can see the axle now that I pulled the C-clips out. And so if you've never done this, there's the cross pin that pulls out, or this actually holds the cross pin in. Here's the cross pin. Now some of these will only orient one way. So keep track of it if that's the case. This one is the same on both sides, so it'll go back in the same way, no matter which way I put it in. And then you pop the C-clips by pushing the axles that way, push them into the pumpkin, and the C-clips will come loose. And I use a magnet on the end of here, I'll show you over here. It's basically a telescoping magnet, right? Just like this, and so it sticks to whatever, and then you can extend it out. So I just use the flashlight and that magnet to get the C-clips out, and they'll go back in with that magnet as well. I'll line them all up, shove the C-clips back in, and then push the axles out, and that'll hold it in. But let me go ahead. I'm going to get all of this pulled apart, and then I'll show you how the new bracket goes in. We got our factory 5 bracket off. We'll put that off to the side. Don't know whether I'm going to do a straight exchange with the customer or whether he's just going to pay me for all this new stuff that I bought. We'll see, because either I sell them on the forum or Facebook Marketplace, or he does. So we'll see what happens. Here's the new bracket. This is going to go on like this. And the holes will line up, and the caliper bracket will go on. So let me get the hardware started on that, and I'll bring you back and show you what that all looks like. There you go, this side's all done. The calipers are gonna get cleaned and painted. I've been storing them, and so any fluid that was in the bags, because I stored them in basically the boxes that another set came in. And so a good practice, if you're gonna store any of this stuff, for the seals and all the rubber parts, is to wrap them in the bag that your new calipers or whatever came in, and then put them back in the box. And you can store them for a good long time, and then the seals won't dry out, and you won't have to rebuild the calipers and all that kind of stuff. So we're gonna go ahead and put the calipers that we pulled off of the car, we're gonna be pulling off the car, they're actually still hooked up right there. We'll put those in those bags, and they'll go in the boxes, and these calipers will be cleaned and painted. All the rubber parts on these are really good, so we probably won't be replacing them. We'll just reuse the stuff that's on there. So these will get kind of stripped down. We'll clean them up. We'll prep them for paint, and they'll get painted with a silver caliper paint, and they'll be brand new. The other side is done too. I got the cross pin and everything put back in the differential. I'm going to talk to the owner and see if he wants us to get a gasket, because this one actually had a gasket, and it actually looks like a pretty high quality gasket. It's kind of like rubber impregnated, so I don't know if it's reusable. I don't feel comfortable about reusing it, but if we can get the same kind of gasket, and that's what the car owner wants to do, we'll do that. And then here's the other side all finished up. So once these are all cleaned and painted, then we'll go ahead and we'll connect the soft lines to them and bleed the brakes. Until then, I'm probably going to continue my work on this Trac-loc bracket and get it reinforced so that we can refit the wheels and make sure we've got clearance for everything. And then everything back here in the rear suspension should be pretty much done. I think that's going to do it for this one. I've kind of been putting this off because I didn't want the stink of the gear oil here in the shop. It absolutely smells horrendous right now. But having the lid over on the stuff that we pulled out, and once I clean the inside of the pumpkin, it won't smell half as bad. Half of the smell is probably just the gear oil that's on my hands. And I tried my best to wear gloves while I was handling anything from in there, but inadvertently, it gets on you. So what are you gonna do? Anyways, if you guys are enjoying the content here, as always, please do the like, the share, the subscribe, all that kind of stuff. We'll see you next time. Have a great day.